Friends, my gross for September 2022 is down over half. Right? My gross reselling on Poshmark and eBay is over half. However, don't fret because of some strategies that I've been putting into place. You can see my net is actually only down 13%. Now, this isn't great, right? Definitely not great, but it's not as bad. And in today's video, friends, I'm going to be walking you through my profit and loss statement, looking at what a reselling business and YouTuber social media business actually looks like from the back end. There's a lot of things that I've been putting in place that have helped me. While my gross is decreasing because of the market, I'll link a video up here on what I think is happening in the market, women's fashion, e-commerce, what's really going on. My gross revenue is decreasing. Even though I have been doing tons of things and all of the right things, my gross revenue is decreasing. However, like we just saw, my net is not. We're looking at all the behind the scenes, what it looks like, looking at that gross all the way down to the net, taking out my shipping and my fees and my expenses and my cost of goods, the split out between, I am obviously on social media, what that gross number represents, my Poshmark sales, my eBay sales, the different social media revenue income streams in a split out, as well as my expenses, and then all the way down to what that number looks like once you take out my savings for taxes. This is a meaty video. I share it every single month so you can really truly see what a reselling business looks like from the back end of that gross revenue. How much am I actually making at the end of the day? Before we get into it, if you are new to the channel, I just want to give you a little bit of background of the numbers that we're representing. I am a part-time reseller. That means I work under 20 hours a week. However, I do have 2 virtual assistants that are working full-time hours. So that allows me to work less hours, but it's going to come out of my expenses. And you're going to see that in a minute. I will link a video up above on how to decide if a virtual assistant is right for you. Is it worth it coming out of your expenses? We are looking at September 2022 reselling, my reselling business social media. I have digital courses, right? I have 3 digital products. I have 2 courses. I do social media. Obviously, I just launched YouTube membership. So that's another revenue income as well. Instagram pays right now. They're doing a beta as well. Reels, and then memberships as well. Like I said, I have virtual assistants. I do women's fashion, selling women's fashion on Poshmark and eBay. Those are the only 2 platforms that I sell on. Now, this is a meaty video, so let's jump right into it. We're going to start with my profit and loss over here. Like I said, let's zoom in just a little bit. We're going to be looking at September 2022 numbers. My gross for September 2022 was $6,990. This was brutal. It was a brutal month, friends, for sure. It was half of what it was last year. I have done quite a few videos. Go check out my recent videos freaking out about what's happening, but also videos in getting it up. I will say October is getting closer to on par to what I'm seeing, and it's because of a lot of the strategies that I've been doing in September and into October. So a lot of the videos that I've been launching recently are really going to help increase your sales as well, because I'm showing that they're doing it with mine. I have 2,377 items currently for sale on eBay. I sold in September 2000, oh God, I wish, 257. Actually, I probably couldn't have shipped that many items. I sold 257 items. The cost to sell these items, so this is cost of goods sold. It's not how much I spent in the month on items to sell. This is of those 257 items, they cost me $1,182 to sell. Now, keep in mind, friends, this is just a general P&L, not P&A, profit and loss statement that I have set up in a spreadsheet. If you have like Quicken or QuickBooks, they should have something very similar to this. This is a pretty standard. I added a couple things on this side. My return rate for the month is about 5%. I mean, that's pretty low considering I do women's fashion. So a lot of, I tried it on, I don't like it. A lot of the measurements, I include measurements and everything, but you know, I tried it on, it just didn't fit right, which I completely understand. eBay has their rate, I think, at about 6% for women's fashion. So I am underneath that. This puts my cost of goods at $4.60. Friends, this is one of the biggest things that I have done to increase that net. Last year, I was already starting to notice this trend that things were starting to come down, as the market is recovering and we had the pandemic, and I was noticing that my gross sales were kind of reflecting that. I was doing liquidation last year, and I have slowly started moving into lowering my cost of goods, but really working hard on keeping my average sale price high, so that my net is still high, right? And you can see, while my gross is significantly lower than it was last year, half of what it was last year, I'm only down for the month 13%. And if we scroll all the way down, lots of charts, friends. If we scroll all the way down and a little over, there we go. You can see my year to date is only down 0.5%. That's ridiculous, right? So you can look at the chart over here. Some months it was better, my net was better. Some months it was less. My overall gross is definitely down. However, my net is neutral. I'm making about the same amount of money, even though my net is down. And these are strategic decisions that I have been making, knowing that my gross was going to go down, implementing things that are going to help me make that net without having to focus on the gross. And this is where really understanding your business is going to help you make more money and put more money in your pocket. So let's go back. This is going to put me at, that looks weird. My gross profit is going to be $5,808.30. Let's go ahead and look at the hourly. I always like to be mindful of the hourly, and the courses that I sell, I talk about this as well. Put a number on your hourly rate so that when you're doing things, you know if it's worth your time, if the sourcing strategies that you're doing, if the listing practices that you're doing, there's only so much time in the day. How much is your time worth? I really go into deep analytics on that in my course to show you how to figure out what is worth your time and how to get to the money that you want to be making. So we're looking at a gross profit hourly, and this puts me, so I've been working about 15 hours a week, probably even less than that. October is ridiculously busy. I sub at my kids' school. I volunteer at my kids' school. There's a lot of stuff going on. So 15 hours max. That includes my entire reselling business. So that is listing items, that is photographing items, that is sourcing items, and then that's also social media. We'll see that split out in just a second. My gross profit is 83%. So of that top number gross, that gross includes everything, shipping, fees, expenses. That is my top number. Once you take out the cost of goods, my percentage is 83%. This is slightly down. I'm going to show you, and let's go on over. I'm going to show you the one thing that kind of honestly saved my butt this month and make my net so good. Making my net not as bad as my gross is going to be social media, honestly. After the eBay Open happened, my YouTube kind of just boomed. So if you guys haven't seen my eBay Open 2022 presentation, I spoke, I'll link it up above. I spoke there and I gained like 2,000 followers, which for me is a lot. When I wasn't even at 10,000 yet. And then, a lot of followers were really interested and wanting to learn more. And so a lot of my views have gone up even on past videos. You can see here my social media is up to 11% of my total revenue. For me, this is not typical. My social media revenue income probably quadrupled last month. I don't imagine that it's going to stay. We'll see. I don't know if it was just a boom for being at the eBay Open or if it was, maybe it's going to be consistent. Hopefully we'll see. But this is definitely not my normal. We'll see if it continues to be my normal. So that puts my eBay at 60%. eBay is definitely still my main factor. Poshmark is creeping back up at 20%. Something that I've changed recently this year is listing onto Poshmark sooner. Before I was waiting a month, and now I'm going over to Poshmark within a week, sometimes 2 weeks, depending on how busy I am, to cross list. These are things my virtual assistant is helping me with. The other thing, and definitely make sure to follow, I am doing a Poshmark live sale. They just released this. I'm going to see how that goes. I'm hoping that may help increase some of my Poshmark sales. Everything that I've been hearing is it's really a volume game and you can make a lot of money there. So follow me to see if that does help increase my Poshmark sales. And then also tips and tricks. I'm going to be looking at the data, the numbers, the analytics, and see if it's really worth my time. So I'll definitely be sharing all that with you. And then you have all of these little bubbles is kind of like what I consider social media so yeah, my dashboard sales. I do consulting very rarely. I do consulting every once in a while. I just really don't have the time for it, but I did do a little consulting last month. Affiliates, which obviously is not a big part of my business. This is just things that I use, and I have the links in my YouTube. And I think as my YouTube has gotten bigger, more people are looking at those links, but it's not really something that I push. I don't think I even have one video pushing, one paid promotion video. Maybe one's coming out. I got like a free box somewhere, but I don't even think I have an affiliate link for them. So let's go ahead and take a look at the shipping and fees. So something that is kind of hurting me right now is my selling fees have gone up. I'll link a video up above on promoted listings. So Poshmark is a flat 20%. So that doesn't change. The eBay is very variable. So they have fees, and then I'm a top rated seller plus on my top rated seller plus items, then I get a discount there. But then if you do promoted listings, if it sells in promoted listings, depending on what it sold, what rate it sold at, then that can variable. I have increased my promoted listing percent though. So I am seeing an increase in my fees, which means that my net is coming out. My net is going to be less because of that. However, it is increasing my gross. And so it's not decreasing my net at enough of a rate that I'm going to stop, if that makes sense. I get much more into promoted listings on the video that I linked up above. Shipping is essentially just a pass through for me. So on Poshmark, this is going to be, they cover the shipping. So none of that's included here unless you offer a shipping discount. If you send offers, you do have to offer a shipping discount. So that's a little bit in there. And then it's just eBay shipping. This tends to say about the same for me. I am in the middle of the country. I sell all the same things. The most my shipping is going to be is like $14.99 for like a medium box if I have like a purse or a heavy pair of boots to fit in. But typically, you know, I charge a flat rate, $5 for first class, and that's about what it costs me to ship it, minus the fees. So that puts my contribution margin at about 50%. Let me know if you guys track these numbers. I'm always interested down below. 50% seems to be about the range that I like. Obviously, I like these numbers to be higher. One thing that is really increasing these percentages is that YouTube income, right? Because there's no cost of goods, there's no selling fees, there's no shipping that is associated with that. It's just a straight money, right? There's nothing that's coming out of that minus my expenses because my virtual assistant really does help out a lot with those. So let's get into the expenses. I'm going to show you how much I spent last month, and then we'll look at the breakout of the expenses. $1,533. And as we come in here, if you guys are new to my channel, this may surprise you a little. If you're not, it's not going to be a big surprise. You can see the biggest teal is going to be my virtual assistant. That is the biggest bulk of my expenses. However, like I said, I work 15 hours a week. There is no way in 15 hours that I could be doing all of this. I have increased my virtual assistant actually to help a little bit more on YouTube. Once it started getting higher, there's a lot more comments to deal with. There's a lot more content that I have ideas to put out, and I'm kind of just taking this wave as it comes. And so a lot of the back end things that I can be having a virtual assistant do, I'm doing, I am having, and that's helped increase some of my social media as well. And then also, you know, they do the listings, they do the cross posting, they do some of my spreadsheet updates, all of those things. I don't have time in the 15 hours. I would not be at that gross number without a virtual assistant. And then other things, donations are just, you know, items that I get home and I've already paid for, I can't return, and I find something wrong with them, but I've already paid for them. Office supplies list perfectly. Licenses that I have to, like I have a wholesale license. Consignment is going to be a Splitout. I actually just ended my consignment client because it's not a model that I like. I know some people do it, and I think if it's your full business, you have a good process. I do them here and there, and it just is a lot of extra work for not the money for me. And then all of these things I do want to say are CPA approved. I work from home, so things like internet, water, trash, things that are like in my house anyways, there's a percentage that my CPA has told me that I can take out because I work from home. Meals and entertainment, that's kind of a new one for August because I was traveling in August. All right, so that is going to go ahead and put my profit before taxes at $2,202.04. That still puts me at an hourly rate of $33. This is lower than my previously hourly rates. It's typically closer to like 50 to 75. However, like I said, I had a terrible month. It is what it is. It's a terrible month. Make sure to subscribe. I am doing lots of things. My October is definitely looking much better. And something I do want you guys to be mindful of, I did have a terrible month for sure, but when we look down here, it was a terrible compared to last year, right? If you look at every single month this year, this is my last year compared to this year gross revenue, I am down every single month except for January. I'm about net neutral. Things are definitely down for me. It's not just, hey, the summer slump, hey, this, hey, that. It is a ongoing trend. Lots of videos on my channel right now talking about that because it is an ongoing trend. I'm not going to let it stop me. I am making strategic decisions in my business to make sure that I am still making the money that I want to make. This is going to put my profit before taxes. So before I take out taxes, I'm at about a 28% profit before taxes rate. This is typically, 30s, 32s, 35%. So this is still a little bit down. Like we saw at the beginning of the video, this is down 13% month over month. But compared to the 50% gross revenue, making the strategic decisions in, your cost of goods, your selling fees, your shipping fees, your expenses, those can all make it to where even if your gross is lower, you're still not being as impacted. So be strategic in the decisions that you're making. Now, before we get into my taxes, I do want to talk a little bit about what I take out for taxes or what I save. This is all based off of a CPA. I am not a CPA, so this is what I do. I recommend that you talk to a CPA for your business. So I assume a 20% federal tax. This is based off of me and my spouse's income. Dual income is 20% federal tax. There is a 15% self-employee tax, and then I live in Colorado, so there is a 5% state tax. That gives me a 40% tax rate. I save 40% taxes every single month in case I have to pay them. I will say in years past, I typically do not have to pay them because we file together and the withholdings from my spouse's income kind of, the way that it works out. I'm not a tax accountant, so I'm not going to go into more details. That is not my expertise. But typically speaking, I save the 40% because that could be the high end of what I would have to pay. Typically speaking, I don't actually end up paying that because of the way that we file together and expenses coming out, childcare, and all the different things. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that ends up being. That puts me at $1,201.22 for a $20 an hour rate. While this isn't the best hourly rate that I've ever had, it is still $20 an hour on my own schedule around my children, working 15 hours a week. There is no way that I could have a job with the schedule that I have, volunteering in my kids' class, being asked to sub, an hour before school starts, making that kind of money. If you guys like this video, YouTube thinks you'd also like this video, I will link a playlist down here of how to make money reselling, and then make sure to hit that subscribe button to follow my journey and see if I can't get that gross number up to also increase my net as well.